The word boycott has entered the conversation about the World Cup. Not from a fan group. Not from a pundit. From the direction of UEFA, the body that governs European football, the confederation that supplies most of the best players on the planet. And if you want to understand how serious this has become, go back to the final. When Spain beat Argentina in New York, the president of UEFA wasn't there. He chose not to attend the biggest match in world football. That's not a scheduling conflict. That's a message. So let's break down what's actually happening between FIFA and UEFA, what triggered this, and why the threat of a European boycott is the most dangerous thing to happen to the World Cup in decades. First, let me be precise because precision matters here. UEFA has not formally declared a boycott. What's happened is that a boycott has been raised as a possibility in the reaction to FIFA's latest plan. It's a suggestion, not a signed resolution. But here's why that still matters enormously. In football governance, nobody says the word boycott casually. Confederations don't float that idea unless they want it heard. It's the diplomatic equivalent of putting a hand on the table near something heavy. And the fact that it's being said out loud at all tells you the relationship between FIFA and UEFA has deteriorated far beyond normal politics. So what set this off? FIFA announced a plan to sell stakes in future World Cups to private investors. Here's the structure. FIFA wants to create a commercial subsidiary called FIFA Forward Enterprise, valued at around $20 billion, which would run the World Cup and other FIFA events. FIFA keeps the majority share and says it retains full control of governance, competitions, the match calendar, and all regulatory and sporting decisions. Minority stakes get sold to outside investors, raising up to $4.2 billion. The investor group would reportedly be led by Thrive Eternal, an American venture capital firm founded by Joshua Kushner, whose brother Jared is President Donald Trump's son-in-law. Which, given how closely Infantino has aligned himself with the American administration, did not exactly calm anyone down. And FIFA's argument for all of it is that the money comes back to football. Infantino said in a statement that football is the world's most popular sport, that parts of the game have turned that popularity into remarkable commercial value, and that FIFA wants that to continue because it lifts the whole game. So why has that landed like a bomb in Europe? Because of one simple, unavoidable fact. A share is a share. When someone pays billions of dollars for a piece of something, they expect to be heard when decisions get made about it. Maybe not a vote. Maybe not a veto, but a voice in the room. And the decisions in that room are the ones European football cares most about. When do matches kick off? How many teams are in the tournament? How often it's played? What tickets cost? Every one of those has a commercial answer and a sporting answer, and those two answers are frequently not the same. UEFA's fear is straightforward, that once investors are in the building expecting a return, the commercial answer wins by default, permanently. Then there's the part that turned irritation into fury. According to reporting, the American and Asian confederations were blindsided. Meaning entire confederations found out about a $20 billion restructuring of their own sport at roughly the same time as the general public. Think about what that means. FIFA is a membership organization. It exists to serve more than 200 national associations. If your own members are learning about the biggest structural change in decades from the news, the process has failed before anyone even argues about the substance. That's how you take federations who might have been persuadable and turn them into opponents. But here's the thing you need to understand. This did not start this week. The FIFA-UEFA relationship has been deteriorating for a long time, and the World Cup itself made it worse. There was the expansion fight. The push toward a 64-team World Cup has been driven largely by South America, with support from the North and Central American Confederation. UEFA's president has been publicly against it. That's a fundamental disagreement about what the tournament should even be. Then during the tournament itself, the Balogun affair blew up, and UEFA's president skipped the final in protest, tacitly backing the Belgian Federation. Norway's president had already filed an ethics complaint against Infantino. Sweden refused to sign a letter of support for him. Germany's backing has been lukewarm at best. And off the record, senior European figures have been saying for months that enough is enough. So the sell-off didn't create this war. It detonated a war that was already loaded. Now, the big question. What would a boycott actually mean? Be honest about it. This is the nuclear option, and it would hurt everyone. But understand Europe's leverage, because it's enormous. UEFA's members supply an overwhelming share of the world's elite players. The European club game is where nearly all of them are employed. And Europe is one of the largest broadcast markets for the tournament. A World Cup without European nations wouldn't be a World Cup. It would be a different, much smaller product, and every sponsor and broadcaster in the world knows it. That's the leverage. UEFA doesn't need to actually do it. It only needs FIFA and FIFA's prospective investors to believe it might. And that's precisely why the timing is so damaging. FIFA is trying to sell minority stakes in a $20 billion asset. What's the fastest way to reduce the value of that asset? Have the confederation that supplies the best players publicly muse about not turning up. Nothing spooks investors like political instability in the thing they're buying. Which brings us to why FIFA can't just shrug this off. There's an election dimension underneath all of it. FIFA's president is chosen by the federations, and FIFA has been working hard to lock in public declarations of support. Reports of 200 federations already guaranteed behind Infantino don't survive contact with the facts. A block of Southern African associations refused to sign a support letter, and there are others who've quietly declined to comment. And crucially, when it comes to a vote, it's a secret ballot. Federations can say one thing publicly and do something completely different in private. That gap between public loyalty and private frustration is the single biggest vulnerability in the whole system, and a visible European revolt makes that gap much wider. So could this actually happen? Realistically, a full European boycott of the World Cup remains unlikely. The financial damage to UEFA's own members would be severe, and there's no appetite among players or fans for missing the tournament. Most likely, this is leverage, a way of forcing FIFA to slow down, to consult properly, and to give confederations real input into the sell-off before it's finalized. But leverage only works if it's credible. And UEFA has spent the last year making itself very credible indeed, skipping the final, backing complaints against Infantino, opposing expansion publicly, and now refusing to fall in line on a plan that would rewrite who football answers to. So here's where we actually are. FIFA wants to sell a piece of the World Cup. Europe is signaling it might not show up to the thing being sold. And the plan hasn't even been finalized yet. The tournament is over, but the fight over who owns it is only starting. What do you think, is UEFA right to threaten this? Or is a boycott a threat they'd never dare follow through on? Comments below. I want to read where you land. Subscribe and hit the bell, because FIFA's next move is coming, and this one is going to run for years.